to the Pinal County Community College District Governing Board meeting of September 17th, 2024. And call to order, Mary Lou. You'll note that the four of us are here, and Dr. Odeon is on the phone, I believe, speakerphone. And if I can ask Member Walker to please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next item is the adoption of the agenda. To have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Second. Okay, motion is second to adopt the agenda. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Okay, the agenda is adopted. And now we have call to the public. The board is prohibited by area statute from discussing, considering, or action of items raised during the call to the public. Individuals are limited to a 3-minute presentation. Do we have anybody submitted for comments? Nope. Thank you. Anybody out there? Nope. All right, we'll move forward. Action items, consideration of the consent agenda. And all items on our consent agenda matters unless they are removed from the consent agenda items at any time. So does anybody want any of the consent agenda items removed? It's just minutes and personnel report. Nope. All right, so let's, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please vote aye.
Aye.
Oh, motion, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I got ahead of myself. Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have motion second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Chair votes aye, motion carries. And we are down to discussion, approval, disapproval of granting an electrical utility easement to the Salt River Project for Agricultural Improvement in Power District SRP. And that's Mark Salas. Is Mark here? There you are, Mark. How are you? I was like, where's Mark? There he is. He's right in front of me. And these are new glasses.
Good afternoon, President Lopez, Governing Board members, Dr. Elliott, Mary Lou, staff, and guests. The good news is, hopefully these will be the last easements for the SMC construction projects. SRP is requiring that an easement be executed and recording prior to SRP's portion of the work continuing. The document states that SRP owns underground infrastructure that is being installed from the existing SRP transformer box into the new workforce training building located on the college's property. Once the easement is executed by CAC and recorded by SRP, it will put the project in the queue for construction. Once the SRP construction is complete, the workforce training building will then have permanent power, which is critical to complete the project by the end of November. It is proposed that the Board of Governors approve the SRP easement.
Okay, any questions?
So made.
Yes.
Second.
Motion is second to approve. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Chair votes aye. It's approved. All right. Next item is number 7, discussion, action, disapproval of granting a water easement to the Apache Junction Water District. Mr. Salas, please.
This easement is to capture the water line service that branches off on the new 12-inch water line that is owned by Apache Junction Water District. There was previously an easement signed for the 12-inch water line that stated AJWD owns and operates the water line that resides on CAC's property. This new easement will be an extension of the current easement and be for the additional service intended for landscaped water off the 12-inch water main up to the meter. It is proposed that the Board of Governors approve the water easement.
Okay. Mr. Walker, this is your issue with the landscaping.
So made.
Okay, motion second. Motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The item is approved. Thank you. All right, reports. Dr. Elliott.
Good afternoon, President Lopez, Governing Board members, Mary Lou, faculty and staff, and guests. I have quite a few things to report on today, and first I want to share some news about the Pence Center. This is obviously an ongoing situation for us. We're almost coming up on a year, but I thought it would be helpful for you to have a visual. Everything outlined in red is the impacted, affected areas that will, that will be replaced like in kind. So you can see initially it was just the auditorium seating area, but now since the beam is not to code, everything from the stage and on will also need to be abated, removed. Currently, they are spending time removing a lot of the duct work in that area, and we learned today, if you look at the blue area towards the front where you can see that brown where the restrooms are, that duct work is also having to be removed and replaced. So for us, the project continues to expand further into other areas of the Pence Center. We did have a meeting this morning with Architect Don, who the trust has retained as our the architect firm that they will work with, and have presented some of our ideas for how like in kind, insurance will do a like in kind replacement of everything unless something's not to code. Obviously they'll have to change it to code, but they also allow us to make any upgrades and improvements that we would like to do as well. And obviously for the seating area, we have lots of ideas, and we're hoping to move in the direction where we have seating that either collapses into the floor or goes under the stage that will allow a different kind of event space, which is a very exciting opportunity. So as you can see, we still are continuing to, it's a big area, it's a lot, and work on this. We're probably still about 9 weeks out until the ductwork is finished. And then hopefully at that time the structural engineers will actually be able to come in and look at the foundation and other things. But I felt like this was a very powerful image of why this has been such an enormous project and ongoing. Are there any questions about the Pence?
Any questions from the board? Dr. Odion?
Dr. Odion, I'll send you this picture and the PowerPoint as well today. All right, well, we'll move on to some good news.
Yes.
Huge thanks to Design Systems Incorporated, who we've been working with on our project with the ACA, Arizona Commerce Authority, and Pinal County to build the Workforce Training Center that thankfully will have power soon. Thank you for approving that easement. So I thought it would be really a good opportunity to show the board where we're at and how the project's coming along. So Will, if you want to go to the next slide. So again, this is the stakeholder team is the Arizona Commerce Authority, Pinal County, Central Arizona College, McCarthy Building Companies, and as you recall, McCarthy also helped us with Drive 48, LGS, LG Energy Solutions, and Design Systems, Inc. So you can imagine with this many stakeholders, this is an interesting project with lots of moving parts and is not as straightforward as the two buildings that we are building on our own. Everybody's getting along very well, though. And a huge thanks to Mark Salas. I mean, I can't imagine. He's done a fabulous job helping us manage 3 construction projects, especially 2 that are extremely different. It's just kudos to the team. So, well, we'll go to the next one. So this is kind of where we're at, cost reductions and alternate options. It's constantly ongoing. As you know, the Pinal County is funding this building for us, and they have a limited amount of funds, so sometimes we have to look at what can we compromise on, and then get LGES to agree on the compromise, and that, interestingly enough, has gone smooth and very well. The permanent power, as you can see, hopefully by next month, the interior build-out should be completed by the end of October. We're really looking for construction to be as completed as possible by November, and this is a very aggressive time frame. The time frame was aggressive initially because of LGES, but they have kind of backed off on some of their time frame at this point. There will not be training that will probably be occurring in 2025. They're going to occupy it and use it for offices until they get all their training equipment. And then, as you can see, we're hoping that training equipment install. So they'll take occupancy probably in January, maybe December, January of 2020 at the or 25 at the latest. And then, as you can see, the equipment won't be delivered and set up until May of 2025. So again, I think you get a picture that is an extremely complex project that we've undertaken over the last year. So, Wilf, we'll go to the next. Again, here's the breakdown of of the costs, the total projected costs, and what we're looking at. Now, keep in mind, this, I do not think, includes the $500,000 that is coming to CAC up front for operational costs over the next 5 years. This is just the building costs, so you can kind of look through that. So we'll go to the next slide. As you can see, this is the design of the facility. It will look very much like, you blend in with all of our other buildings and have a nice design. The part in the back with the taller part, obviously will have the garage doors and the ability to bring in and out the equipment that is needed. And we'll go to the next slide. This is kind of messy, and it's kind of hard to see, but as you look at this, the round things are the landscaping, but within the building, which is in the middle, there's a canteen area, a lobby area, and then it's very linear in design, not like Drive 48, if you recall, was very open, and we had the dojo bays around. This is going to feel more like a traditional building with classrooms on one side, virtual reality labs on another, and assembly labs as well with the hallway. And again, that was LGES's preferred design. We would have maybe liked something a little bit more like Drive 48 for flexibility. However, we have achieved some flexibility in this building where some of those walls are movable and collapsible, so we can have more of that open, flexible space in 5 years once we take possession. And we'll go to the next. So you can see the masonry is going in. That's probably not very interesting, so we'll just go to the next slide. And framing, you can see the framing and how that's going to look inside with the framing. The roof is being applied in the low bay area. There's a high bay and a low bay, and that's kind of how we divide the building into two parts. Next slide. So that was kind of where we're at with that. It is moving along very, very quickly, and so we're excited to see that moving along. And I don't know if you have any questions for me. I'm happy to answer.
Any questions, any board member?
And as you may recall, we used Design Systems Incorporated to help with Drive 48, and I can't tell you how beneficial it has been to have Pete Pugate stay on with us and kind of be the middleman between LGES, the county, the college, ACA. So, the other thing I wanted to share with you today, and it's very appropriate that we're at the Maricopa campus, because earlier this week I got the official approval for the Higher Learning Commission for our drone program. And you may recall that a couple years ago we entered into a partnership with the Unmanned Safety Institute. It's a very hard name. I wish they'd change it. But the Unmanned Safety Institute, and they'd been doing their training on this campus. And Andrew Clegg had been working with them on how do we capture this as a credit program so students can actually leave with a CAC certificate. So we have been approved for 2 certificates, both of 16 hours. One's for the pilot certificate, the FFA pilot certificates, and then unmanned aircraft system fundamentals. So very excited about that as well. And then the last thing I wanted to share is that we are this week having the Department of Ed's financial aid division is on campus. They are doing an assessment, not an audit, and it's really designed to help us be prepared for future financial aid audits. You may or may not be aware, and have watching the news, is that obviously there's the new simplified FAFSA that's coming out, which has had some technical difficulties. The other thing that higher ed across the nation is struggling with is fake students. That many bad people out there, for a better lack of a word, are applying, becoming fake students, and being awarded financial aid. And so we're working really diligently on how can we mitigate that and hopefully get some assistance as well. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have about
Any
of
questions,
these things.
Dr. Elliott? Dr. Odeon?
There's a lot going on.
No, nothing for me.
Great, yeah, there's so much going on. This is really good. Okay, no questions.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
So much for your report, especially the drone program. That's really exciting. That's really cool. All right, so next is business affairs reports. Louis Sott? Uh-oh. Okay.
All right. Trying to lower it, but good afternoon, Governing Board President Lopez, fellow Governing Board members, Dr. Elliott, Mary Lou, colleagues, and guests. So you have in your packet the monthly budget report. The monthly budget report shows that it's information, year-to-date information for July of 2024, which is just 1 month into our current fiscal year. And it shows the district's operating fund expenditures are at 2.57% of the total budget, which is a decrease of 1.57 from July of 2023, which was at 4.14%. Any questions on the monthly board report?
Any questions? Dr. Odeon, do you have any questions? We're getting some feedback from your mic.
Yeah, I just killed it. It's okay now, I think.
All right. Any questions?
No, all set.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay, and then you have in your packet all of the awarded bids over 20,000. Any questions on any of those?
No, I think there were some that were way under bid, which is good. I mean, we got a better price than what we actually budgeted for it. So that's great. Laptops, and some were closer, but any questions from the board on any of the items? Dr. Odeon, any questions?
No, nothing for me.
Okay, looks good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, academic affairs report is next. Dr. Kay Gilliard, please.
Good afternoon, Board President Lopez, Governing Board members, Dr. Elliott, Mary Lou, staff, and guests. Thank you for allowing us to come and present today. We are going to be presenting about CTE pathways, and in just a moment I'm going to bring my colleague Dr. Tina Berry up, who's going to be our main presenter today. Tina is the Dean of Nursing, Allied Health, and the Skilled Trades, so she has most of those areas under her direction, with the exception of a few, but the primary ones. But I wanted to just start out by commenting that we have been presenting over the course of the past few years about strategic projects, and I think that goes for all of the VPs with the things that have been going on in their areas. And so with this presentation, academics will have presented on all but 2 of them. We've just filled up the time going down our list, and the 2 that we will not have presented on, and we are coming to the end of this strategic plan and moving into a new one. They're not things we have forgotten about, but we've struggled a little bit more with and will continue to work on, even if it's not a main part of the new strategic plan. But the CTE Pathways to Direct Employment has been a huge mission for us. This is to, ramp up and enhance our programming for students who want to, in some cases, have that 2-year degree in Associate of Applied Science, but also may simply want a shorter-term training or a certificate that is going to get them out in the workforce. And the goal has been also to look at the needs of our community and what is going to best serve Pinal County in the kinds of programming that we offer. So looking at what's good for students, what's good for the county, how can we bring those together and just increase what we offer back to our community here at the college. We've been looking at, there is a list of some of the other academic projects, but I'll just mention that last year in Maricopa, we had a presentation from our workforce and continuing education Executive Director Andrew Clegg, who talked about a lot of things that kind of overlap with what we're doing in CTE. His are more often non-credit, but there's a little bit of overlap there, so just to kind of bring you back to that. But anyway, there is that list, and it's in your packet of the things that we have done. And I have not done the clicker there. I need to click forward. That would help. There we go. There's our list of projects. Okay. So the career and technical education areas include allied health, nursing and CNA, and the skilled trades, and then also some additional CTE programs that are sometimes a little bit more hidden. But for example, we have a strong program in early childhood education, and we have an excellent program in digital media arts, which actually is for direct employment, even though some of our students do decide to go on and get another degree, but they don't have to. And so we have some of those CTE options embedded in the arts and sciences area too, so I just wanted to point that out. But I'm going to bring Dr. Berry up here to continue, because she has all the really good information about these programs and has been hands-on with them, so there you go.
Good afternoon, President, Governing Board President Lopez, Governing Board members, Dr. Elliott, Mary Lou, colleagues, and guests. I did it. So I know that you have a lot in your packet, but I was just going to go over some things pretty quickly. Other things I'll take my time on. That's okay. Dr. Gilliland actually presented all of this so far, so I know this is a little hard to read, but what I wanted to make sure of is that you knew what the definitions were for all of these programs that we have right here. So clinical lab tech, medical lab tech are very similar. Clinical lab is more basic, medical lab tech is more complex. Health information management, electronic medical record would be included in that. Radiology technician or diagnostic imaging. That does not include MRI though. Pharmacy tech assists the pharmacist, medical assistant assists doctors, and they do a lot of administrative work. Massage therapy works with patients and clients for wellness and manipulate the body's soft tissues. Dietary education program. They plan and conduct food service or nutritional programs. Fire science fights fires and includes wildland fires, which we know a lot about here in Arizona. They also do rescue. EMT paramedic, they assess injuries and illnesses, provide emergency medical care, and they can transport patients to medical facilities. Oops, sorry, too fast. Okay, so what I put in your packet was the median salary for these programs and the expected growth over the next 10 years, which I thought was actually very enlightening. What I also did that you do not have in your packet is I put the cost to the student of each program. So I'll let you know what that is. So clinical lab tech, you can make up to $60,780. That is with a bachelor's degree. So I wanted to make sure. I couldn't find anything for a associate degree, so I came as close as I could. And their expected growth is about 5%. But the cost to the student for the clinical lab tech is $2,792. And if you look at a return on investment, most of these programs have as low as 300% to as high as 3,000%. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Louisa might want to check my math. Just kidding. So medical lab tech then, cost to the student is $7,200, but they will be expected to make $60,780 with a bachelor's. Health information management, they're expected to be $62,900. Cost of that program is $7,941, and they're expected to increase of 16% over the next 10 years. So that's a good one for us to stay involved with. So radiology tech, you can see there's $76,020 median salary. The cost to the student is anywhere between $4,895 to $7,941. Pharmacy technician is probably the lowest. 40,300 is expected. They are actually in need of pharmacy techs across but the cost to the student is $2,200. We have moved that program from 9 months to 6, and hoping to actually get them out in the workforce faster. And they will increase by 7%. That pharmacy tech program is moving from Santan Valley, from our Santan campus, to the Apache Junction area, and we think the demographics fit better there. Medical assistant, you can see the growth there, or median salary 42,000, expected growth 15%, but it only costs the student $2,404. So that's good. Increase of 18% for massage, and that's because we wear out our bodies a lot faster than we used to. That was a joke. $55,310 median salary, but they're going to increase 18%. But the cost for them is $4,000 to $5,160, which is pretty good. Dietary education programs. One of the things I want to point out about this program, this area, is they are doing upskilling for a lot of workforce. So hospitals, long-term care facilities, any places like that that have dietary programs. They are actually taking people who have a degree and upskilling them for what the hospital wants in those areas. So increase of 7%, cost is $7,408. Fire science, we are doing well there. The cost to the student is anywhere between $1,500 to $5,000. And that depends on actually if you go through the whole program. These are also allied health programs that are associated with applied science degrees. EMT paramedic, EMT is $1,320 to $1,570 cost to the student, and that's a certificate. And then the associate for the paramedic program is $6,008, and is expected to go up to 6% in the next 10 years. So, we're going to talk about CNA, LNA. For those of you who don't know, CNA is a certified nursing assistant. LNA is a licensed nursing assistant. And the licensed nursing assistant is what our prerequisite is for the nursing program. Our thought along that line is that those students come into our program a lot better with dealing with people, with knowing how to do care on people, and then we can start off and start with all of the other work that an RN does. So CNA is a very hard job, very, very hard job. $38,130 is what a median salary is for. I think they should make at least 50 to 60, and if I had anything to do with it, I would give them that. But because I don't, its expected growth over 10 years is 4%. I find that a little hard to believe because of the elderly population. So maybe that statistic is not as, but the cost to a student is $1,207. Along with that, we now have an LPN to RN bridge program. And so these LPNs are now upskilled, and they can actually go ahead and become an RN. They take an extra semester with 2 or 3 classes. The previous prerequisites are all transferred in. They do 2 semesters, 2.5 semesters. Their median salary right now as an LPN is $59,730. Their expected growth over 10 years is 3%. However, the cost of the student for our LPN to bridge program is $2,918 for just the bridge. And then they can make $86,070 as an RN. So that program is working out well. We have had a push. We have up to 10 spots. We've had a push when we first started, We are now going out to the long-term care facilities or hospitals who are employing LPNs and asking them to give us names of people who they might want to send through. And of course, the RN Associate of Applied Science, $86,070 they make as a median salary, and depending on what specialty or whatever, they can make a lot more than that. Growth is expected to be 6%. Cost to the student for the AAS is $5,850. So this is one that's probably almost like close to 2,000% return on investment. Now, we do have a CEP program too, and I don't know if you're aware of this, but with NAU and ASU, we have a CEP program. It's a concurrent enrollment program where the student will get a Associate of Arts, sometimes with NAU. They'll get an Associate of Applied Science with CAC, and with NAU, they'll get a bachelor's degree. And if they get all three of those with us, it's $21,464. But they get all three of those degrees. So that's pretty. And probably the most expensive part of that program is the NAU part, because I think it's $600 a credit hour. So. Skilled trades. I've got a lot of this information for you. Diesel mechanics. They make $58,970 median. They're expected to go up 3%. Cost is $6,125. Welding, pipe and TIG. Pipe is $1,105 that it costs for us at CAC or a student, and $7,055 for structural welding. Heavy equipment operator, $55,270, expected growth 4%, and I don't know about you, but they're everywhere, especially at SMC. So $4,935 for costs for the AAS program. We also are doing some apprenticeships with SUNT and in that area, and that's going very well. Electrician, $61,590. We do have a program here. It is currently being run by Wilson Electric, one of our other partners. Their expected growth is 11% over the next 10 years. And the cost to the student right now is $2,350, and that does not include the apprenticeship. But I believe in some cases that Wilson may be paying for that apprenticeship. Agriculture. Well, this is the one that is a little bit surprising to me. They expect a decline over the next 10 years of 2%. Plant and livestock is included in this. The Associate of Applied Science is $5,200. The Associate of Arts is $4,900, and the Equine is $4,775 for the AAS. We would like to actually restructure some of these agricultural programs and see what we can do to what's out there more, what do I want to say, contemporarily or whatever it is. AIT has actually exploded. I remember when I became a dean about 5 years ago, it was almost non-existent. And through all of the work that Andrew Clegg and the group in the skilled trades areas have done, it's quite nicely has come to fruition. We've had to actually add 2 or 3 new positions. So median salary is $62,000, and cost to the student is $4,920. So pretty good. So updated and growing. The AIT, I just talked to you briefly about that, grew out of the mechanics MET program and other curriculum. We have been in partnership with Lucid Motors, and it has been a very good partnership, and we have gone back and forth with, we'll give you this and we'll give you that, and Lucid has actually just recently is going to allow us to put the ambulance simulator in their area, because we brought that program all down to SPC, and so that'll be coming in the next probably month or so. We've got an agreement with Pima and Maricopa districts, and that's kind of what actually moved the program forward. We did a statewide shared curriculum. We had movement from simple mechanics to project program logic controllers, robotics. I can't really go into any more than that because I would have to have one of them come and talk about that. And then LG, we're partnering with them. So we talk a little bit about the new programs that are coming, unmanned aircraft drones. It is currently running non-credit classes right now. And the curriculum has been approved. We're hiring faculty, and we will be up and running soon. So plumbing and HVAC is coming to the SMC campus. The median wage of that is $57,300 for a person in that area. 9% growth, and we're using the NCCER curriculum, and that start will probably be fall of '25. We have a diagnostic ultrasound sonography program, which we used to have here, but we're resurrecting. And the median wage for that, a person who goes into that profession is $80,850. They're expected to have 11% growth. And we just hired a new director for that, and they will be coming October 14th. I'm very happy about that. And we have a fall of 2025 start. We have an esthetician program that's starting at the SMC campus. Median wage will be $43,200, 10% expected growth, and we hired a faculty director in July. They've been working on the program part-time. And we are putting that program, the curriculum in, and that will be another fall 25 start. The goal was to, because we have to go through accreditation and state boards and that kind of thing, we decided that all the older programs would start in the spring, and then all the newer ones would start in the fall, giving them enough time to actually go ahead and get all of the I's dotted and the T's crossed. Future programs. We are looking at possibly doing an RN to BSN. HLC approval will be pending shortly. And if we go ahead and do that, then that mostly is online. What that would allow us to do is actually do a second campus of nursing at the Santan campus. Of course, that all depends on what Dr. Elliott and what's best for the students and for CAC. But we have our eyes on a surgical technician program, a physical therapy assistant, behavioral health technician. We've talked with Desert Sanita just recently, and they are really wanting to do that, and dental assistant. Actual other possibilities include occupational therapy assistant, dental health aid therapist, and dental hygiene. And these are other potentials for CTE or continuing education, and we're all in discussion with that. Automotive technician. We are doing some things with the high schools, I think, now with that area. EV technician, sterile processing technician, fiber optics, and a tower technician that would go with our drone program. So I know I've talked a lot, so I just have a brief video I'd like to play. It's only a couple minutes. And for any of you who knows Michael Rowe, I won't have to introduce him. There he is.
There are a dozen schools, probably more around here, right? Public schools, 17 schools. Send their kids here after school, so not for intramurals, not for sports.
Well, so we have flexible starting. You mentioned flexible, and we are education that's nimble. So they can come in the morning when they have a block of time and they don't have to have course. They can come in an afternoon. They can come after school. What fits them? That's what matters.
So also before we sat down, I took a walkabout, ran into a couple nursing students. Right? They said, "Oh, you got to come down and be our instructor." So I got down there. As I'm walking, I asked them why they're doing this and what they like about it. And one of them said, "What we love about this program is that it's not stuck in an 18-month curriculum. You learn what you need to learn." We've had people who have fully matriculated after 7 or 8 months.
Yes. do we need to continually supply what we've always done? And so I refer to education in two different categories. We have supply education and demand education. Well, we've thought a long, hard time about supply education. Well, we need this many degrees, we need this many diplomas, this many enrollments. And we try to focus on how many jobs do you need in welding? How many jobs do you need as highline technicians? How many jobs do you have in this area? What industry is growing? That's a demand. That's the program we're going to offer. How many nurses are you going to need? Let's get that going. So you've got to, education we viewed as, as something that is just always constant. That's a right. And education probably should be a right for people, but it needs to be built around the kind of life I want to live. People will find all kinds of career opportunities if they see I can be successful at that, and I can raise my family the way I want to, or I can get out of poverty, or I can be a leg up on where my parents were. They want to see those life goals. That's what we're all about. And so if they can get to those things because of a career need that was in demand,
And I say that because they mentioned nursing and they mentioned a few other things, but some of our accreditors require us to do longer, but where we don't have the accreditation or where we have a lot of more flexibility, we can move faster. So I give you all that. I appreciate your time, and hopefully you won't have to listen to me that much anymore.
Very good. So are we working with Cabot and some of the high school, you mentioned the high school programs. So Cabot, I know, teaches some of these, and with the intention, I think, when they graduate, maybe coming to CAC, or they're working with CAC right now, correct?
Right, and we have
Yeah.
dual enrollment for many of the programs, where they would either have a faculty that we vet that would teach there, or we would have concurrent programs where they do come in the morning. Welding, they come in the morning, and they go back, and so we're doing as much of that as we can with the skilled trades, and that seems to be working.
That's awesome. Yeah, the AIT program is, and the EV is at Cabot. My grandson's in it. And so it's really cool. He's all excited. They're working on EV and different things, so he's really looking forward to it. So he's enjoying it, so I think all the other students are too, so that's great.
I think what happens is students can get overwhelmed at the choices they have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I never had choices like that, so, it was like I followed a long path, but it's nice that they're able to pick, and if I don't like that, I can do something else. CNA is one of those. If I don't want to go into medical and I see something, it's like, I'm not doing that, I'm going to switch to one of these other programs. So it's very, very nice. It's a lot of opportunities in this area, so.
Great. Any questions?
No.
Dr. Odin?
I love it.
No, nothing, thanks.
Great, thank you so
Okay,
much.
you're
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay,
And
now.
I'm just going to pop up and say thank you as well, and thank you to Dr. Barry. So thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you both. Thank you so much. Okay, next we have call to the board. Member Walker.
Am I the only one that's going to have anything to say?
No, probably I don't. Probably
Well, I'll
not.
tell you, I really appreciate the presentations that were made today, particularly regarding skills. What is the big game changer for any community is education. And the more training an individual gets to support the community they live in, the greater the potential for that community. And I really appreciate all of it. I think we need to do more of it, and we need to look at other ways to expedite certifications so that people can do what they want to do without having to spend half of their life getting qualified to do it. And the other thing that I wanted to mention is that I love books. I do read some. Contrary to popular belief, I read a lot. But I found one recently that I really like. It's called The Dragon's Prophecies by Jonathan Cahn. I would really encourage everyone to read that. They'll find out what's going on in the world and how to understand what's going to be happening in the near future. He's not a prophet, but he is someone who analyzes things and can come to conclusions based on history as well as what's going on in the world today. Jonathan Cahn, and it's The Dragon's Prophecies. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Kasuga.
Just attended a public event last week, and it's always satisfying to hear CAC mentioned, and this was Mayor McFarland in Casa Grande, who's outgoing mayor at this point in time, and he was making his last address at the Casa Grande Chamber of Commerce, and he's going through all of the great things that are happening in not only Casa Grande, but certainly all over Pinellas County, and of course gives a shout out to CAC as one of the main partners in making this happen. And then as I'm walking out the door, here's a couple of guys from Lucid. They've got their Lucid shirts on. I said, hey, this is who I am. And, and they were extremely appreciative of our partnership and were just profuse in their praise for all of the partnerships and the relationships they have with and so those are, kind of unsolicited comments. So it's even better. Congratulations to the team, Dr. Elliott, and all of the staff and just everyone doing an amazing job.
Great, thank you. Dr. Odian, you have some comments?
Just my apologies to all for not being there today, and thank you to those who made it possible for me to at least participate in this way. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to also thank our partners like Wilson Electric and then Desert Sonita if we're going to do some work with them. I think that's great. I also want to acknowledge the college is working on sustainability, and that's really important. So we're doing that going forward. So I just want to acknowledge that. And also thank everyone for the presentations. It's amazing what you're doing and all the great work you're doing. And we see it in the young people that are happy to go to the classes and do all those things. And it's really evolving. It's been a while since I was at CSC, but it was great. It was fun then and great, and it's just even getting better and better. So thank you all for all your work. And with that, anything else? Good to the order? Then I declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you all.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Mr.